Hello there and welcome to your most watched business show in the country. This is the Business Weekly Show here on City TV, and my name is Michael Ogbodu, your host. In the next 60 minutes, I'll be bringing you a wrap of all the top business stories for the week, including the good for oil policy, the debt exchange program, and the fact that utility tariffs will go up in a bit. If you're ready, let's go. The conversation on the domestic debt exchange program doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. Even though the government is working to achieve some consensus to enable it secure the IMF deal, there appears to be a lot of resistance. But at least some progress has been made at the Ministry of Finance and individual bondholders opposing their inclusion in the domestic debt exchange program. But at least some progress has been made as the Ministry of Finance and the individual bondholders opposing their inclusion in the domestic debt exchange program agreed to form a joint technical committee to address their concerns.
The meeting was necessitated by opposition raised by various groups of individual bondholders demanding their exclusion from the domestic debt exchange program. The groups, who claim to be about 1.3 million in number, have threatened to sue the government if they are not excluded, as the program will have an impact on their livelihood. The meeting, according to City News sources, was at the behest of the Ministry of Finance. The meeting began with the Finance Minister expressing commitment in seeking the welfare of all Ghanaians, including the domestic bond holders.
The question really becomes that given the state that we are in with the economic crisis, as Prof prayed us in, what is it that we all can do to make sure that this happens? And what is it that we do to make sure that we are alive after it has happened? And so therefore, we have proposed a program in which there's been a lot of pushback and very high decibel level on some issues.
The minister indicated that it is the aim of the government to get 80% participation for the domestic debt exchange.
The exchange program, I think we are targeted something like 80% participation as a way to get enough to ensure that we are within the perimeter. But as long as we are able to be in the perimeter of 55% our debt to GDP, we should be able to go forward with it.
The discussions then went into conclave after the introductory remarks, and after about an hour of deliberations, a decision was taken to form a technical committee to further discuss matters.
The consensus to have a technical team review the options that we have proposed is very welcome. And we look forward to working with your team effective tomorrow, as indicated, for us to find a common path forward. We have clearly maintained our argument that we constitute a very small portion of the pie, which we believe should not hurt. But the impact on this subsector is the harshest. We commit to working with you on your plans to improve your revenue generation, to working with you on the ways to rationalize the expenditure sustainably and also manage the general Ghanaian expectation.
So the engagement would be continued to make sure that we all understand where we are and what we have to do to go forward. And as you indicated, getting the common path, as you mentioned, for us to be here to enjoy the future. You indicated that ask for the technical committee to be set up, and we do await your 2 members that you sent to us, and we should have the first meeting tomorrow. So it is of urgency. It's important. We must signal to the country that we can indeed circle the wagons and work within our limitations, but ensure that we all come out ahead somewhat, even with our limited resources.
But what did the other stakeholders present make of the outcome of the meeting? Is the outcome only the technical committee that's supposed to be formed?
Yes, but it's a very good start. It's gone very far. Okay, by agreeing to the technical committee. The reason for the technical committee is that the minister is agreed that we should sit down and look at how to find space in the budget. That is it.
A committee was formed before this domestic debt exchange program. If that committee couldn't get enough consensus for this to be agreed upon after its announcement, why do you think a technical committee again? Because this 5-member committee that was formed earlier had some persons who had knowledge within the field.
No, Mr. Ajiman, it's okay. For me, I'm always that. Let's just say this. It's a good start. Let's go into the committee. For me, let's repeat so that people understand. What the minister, the pith of our argument was that we should find space in the budget to be able to absorb individual bondholders. And he agreed. So that as long as we find space, and we've made the argument. So we made the argument that capital expenditure is going so high, we should find space there. Then we cited other examples. And say, okay, no problem. Come and sit down, let's do it. So please, let's go. Let's go. It's more than good.
But what is wrong with what is wrong with continuous stakeholder engagements? No, I'm asking you, what is wrong with
the concern has been...
It doesn't matter. It's a different group. These are different groups who also have different opinions that they can support and help us with. So there's nothing wrong with inviting other different opinions, because it is together that we can find, a common point where everybody benefits at the end of the day.
My policy positions are always thought through on a balanced scale. You always have to think about other people and look at what's functional. Like I told the minister, I own businesses that are negatively affected by it. I am an unemployed graduate. And as an unemployed graduate, if my businesses are negatively affected by it, it is a big deal. But considering the challenges he has at hand, I've accepted and authorized my businesses to subject themselves to this DDE. My problem is that you can't extend that to individuals because the implications are catastrophic.
What do you make of the posture of the individual bondholders at the meeting, at this particular meeting today?
I think it's fair. They came with their petition or their request, and that request was listened to very carefully. And the resolution here to explore the issues further, I think, is a good way forward.
While the government is still trying to figure its way around the individual bondholders, banks in the country also struck hard. The Association of Banks instructed its members to halt the adoption of the domestic debt exchange program. They argue it would adversely affect the sector, hence the need for a relook.
The Association of Banks has directed all its members to desist from signing on to government debt restructuring program until all their demands are met. This is due to the uncertainty regarding the impact of the debt restructuring on the banking industry. This comes after government extended the deadline for the registration of the domestic debt exchange program to 31st January 2023. It is also crucial because of the key role banks play in the domestic debt exchange program. This is the third time the government has extended a deadline for the bondholders to voluntarily exchange their bonds for new ones. In the government quest to address the country's ongoing economic challenges, it launched a program to invite holders of bonds to voluntarily exchange approximately 137 billion Ghana cedis domestic notes and bonds of the Republic, including ESLA and Dachi, for a package of new bonds. The debt exchange program is a condition for the government to secure an IMF support program to revive the ailing economy. The leadership of the banking industry had met the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, the financial sector regulators, including the Bank of Ghana, and other stakeholders over the debt exchange program. It has made several proposals to policymakers to help reduce the impact of the program on their operations. So far, there has been several protests from all quarters, including individual bondholders, over the debt exchange program. They claim that government has failed to consult them before rolling out the program. Meanwhile, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has announced that Zenith Bank Ghana has voluntarily ceased to operate as a trustee in the securities industry and the capital market. According to the SEC, the decision was reached after a thorough assessment.
Let's now turn our attention to fuel and the government's efforts at stabilizing the price of the products in the country. It has finally taken delivery of its first supply of fuel under the Go for Oil policy. The government is confident this initiative will significantly reduce the demand for Forex in purchasing fuel, which it hopes will lead to some decline in prices at the pumps. But the Association of Oil Marketing Companies doesn't seem to agree. The price of fuel has over the last year seen a sporadic increase after starting 2022 at about 6 cedis 50 pesos per litre, but ended the year at more than double the price. A rise in the price of the commodity on the world markets and challenges with Forex, among others, have been cited as the contributing factors. The government, as part of its intervention to improve the situation, proposed the gold for oil policy.
We have always got pressure on finding US dollars to buy oil. Why don't we rather reach an agreement to exchange our gold for oil and then sell the oil in cedis, then use the cedis to buy more gold, use that gold to pay for oil, sell the oil in cedis, and then you don't need to look for scarce foreign exchange to buy oil, which always leads to a depreciation in the currency. So with this idea, we said, let's do something that the textbooks don't teach you. Let's do something that is out of the box. And this is why we said gold for oil. And we quickly looked at this and we negotiated with the suppliers of oil, who were very, very excited and happy to receive gold in payment.
Ghana recently took delivery of its first consignment of about 40,000 metric tons. Speaking at this year's New Year School of the University of Ghana, Dr. Bawumia said the Go for Oil deal is the best for the country.
Thankfully, yesterday, I think yesterday was Monday, right? Yes, yesterday was Monday. Yesterday, Ghana took its first delivery of oil under the Gold for Oil program. This is our test cargo. This is the cargo to test the framework, to see if everything that has been put in place will work. And by the grace of God, it's clear that the framework will work. And if that should happen, we are going to save a lot of foreign exchange and reduce the pressure on our currency.
The Association of Oil Marketing Companies says although it supports the government's Gold for Oil policy, it doubts it would be able to bring some reduction in the price of fuel at the pumps. Speaking to City Business News on the sidelines of the swearing-in and inauguration of the newly elected Board of Governors, the CEO of the association, Kweku Ajimandua, stated that Gold for Oil policy will lead to some market stability by addressing the fluctuations associated with the demand for Forex.
I mean, we are scrambling, so any good idea, we take it. So once it's a good idea, we take it. We only monitor to see how it goes. It's good. Anytime somebody brings an idea, it's good to look at it. Look at it very well. And it's something that we are going to do it for the first time. So we don't throw the good idea away. You only guide it, look at it, then as you move on, you critique to make it better. I can't see that. For me, what I can see is more of a stability in pricing. The reduction, where market price of fuel is the same. If somebody goes down as a discount, and you remember, some people, that's their forte. That's where they make their money. But in terms of stability, I think we can have that, because it's like you dealing with a particular trader. Consistency will be there. Yeah.
Meanwhile, speaking at the same event, the 74th Annual New Year School Conference of the University of Ghana, on the theme Positioning the African Market for Sustainable Economic Development through AFTA, Vice-Chancellor of the University, Nana Abba Apia Amfo, stressed that it was important for Ghana to take the leading role under the agreement.
Having had the opportunity to host the AFTA Secretariat in Accra, Ghana should take the lead in stimulating dialogue aimed at repositioning its financial, industrial, and educational sectors, as well as technological development and security apparatus to deal with emerging issues in the regional trade area. This year's New Year School and Conference offers a unique platform to initiate such needed discussions.
Secretary General of the AFTA Secretariat, Wankele Mene, also drummed home the need to actively promote intra-African trade in view of the current global economic challenges.
The severe impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict on African countries is evidence to the harmful implications of the existing global and multilateral structure of trade as it impacts on it. It is therefore important that for Africa to promote intra-continental trade, to reduce its vulnerability to external shocks and improve trade and economic performance, that the AFCFTA has to be the driver of that particular objective.
Still on fuel, and fisher folk who rely on Premix fuel for their operations will now have to pay more for the product. The price has shot up from 10 Ghana cedis to 25 Ghana cedis per gallon. However, reactions of the fishing community is varied about the development.
The distribution of premix fuel has been a challenge for government for months. This has made the commodity scarce at most landing beaches along the coast. The phenomenon has had a negative impact on the operations of fisherfolk. Government, in a bid to address the shortage, is compelled to increase the price of the product from 10 Ghana cedis to 25 Ghana cedis per gallon. But what do the fishermen make of this new price of the commodity?
For now, we know what is going on. Yes, and for a long time we didn't get the premix. Let's take about 6 months ago. That take a long time. Normally we buy from the filling stations, and they sold it to us at the same time that the price that they sold to the cars. So we've been buying it like that. Even it's higher than the 2.5 that we are calling now. So it's better to get it with a price than don't get it at all. Yeah, so though it's not good to us, because normally we don't have fish as we want. We don't catch, we don't have much fish to sell to get a profit. But once you've been getting it, you can manage it for a while. Yeah, so we don't ignore it. We just have to accept it and move on.
But also, we understand that government has had enough conversation or stakeholder engagement with you before this increment. What do you have to say about that for us?
Yeah, it's true. They call us, they talk to us, they show us the things that is going on. They told us from far what is going on worldwide and the situation at hand now. So I think what they told us, we said, no, fine, if we can get it with a price. First it was from higher to this level. We call it from maybe 3.5 there, and we bargain it up to this level. So I think we are somewhere. Now, it looks as if we all know everything, what is going on globally. We all know what is going on. But to our fisher folks, it's not easy. It's not easy. But from there, we call a meeting. So everybody is aware what we are going to do, what the government is talking about. It's not about one person, me sitting down here talking. It's about the whole thing. Now we have to accept it and move on. What we have to think far is that they told us that at least when things change, they'll come back to where they started from. So I think we'll be expecting it.
I'm not looking for any petrol. It's no fear or she. No young one few. But war on which one was you bet a tomo young Billy Nuchumokoni, Cotti no allo young bono about people. She will know she'll be anywhere happy. 2 months fini no go back. Oh no. Okay, petrol jelawa few yawo bagbawana. If you want any more abashia. Biane Premix go back. Because I feel to 6 months in a Premix go back. Eko kula back no wana price boni yo ni wa eko kula back. Yo pa ne enyonu nshi na gbele anga nshi na agbele owo ya no wala ke ko aba no ke ashi eko kula back kula no be gono petrol no wa yo ni ji shele
ji na agba kan awon bo ne si wo susu ake rana eko be no ke ya wo e no ke age 25 anwo o fi la ke ba yin wa fe super wo so le mo ke wa fa ipa mo ji won am la ro an le ba sian wo ko ke je 10 cedi e ke rikis ni ya won epo e sane ba le to mo 15 polo 17 sibi ane 25 wa wo si to ba fete
wona be ni ma shika moyo o npa government e fa yi ake yeni petrol price 80 olenu no wa fi mi no wa fi shimon petrol ni ke ba ngene ni janoji enyu alojo chi e won pa fa yeni petrol jale ti o wa mo mi na kan da ni petrol ba ko ni ke me ni flock wo drums je na mi ni amaka docho ni ahun na fi ona agba kian awo ni no ni petrol price e ba wen ni na kan no se na efu o sen da ni petrol nye ba arabian tunu no ejile e ba wen o sen da ni enye ba o mu fi oni nyeni mayu ne.
Meanwhile, the National Premix Fuel Secretariat has been explaining the rationale behind the increment.
The Ministry for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development have met the leadership of the fisher folks. We have come to realize some of the challenges that we've had in the past, especially in the last 4 years. So in the last 4 months, we've had challenges with respect to the supply of premix fuel to all our landing beaches. So we start with the leadership of the fisher folks to see how best we can address these problems so that in this particular year we can ensure there's consistent supply of premix fuel to the fisher folks. One of the issues that came up strongly is the amount of subsidy that the government gives to fisher folks, or with regards to premix fuel. We realized that the subsidy rate was about 85%, which was very huge. And then it was becoming very difficult for government, especially with regards to the payment of under-recoveries to our bulk distributing companies or BDCs. The BDCs were struggling to import fuel into the country because all their capital cost was now into the procurement of fuel into the country. So we sat down and we looked at it, that what is the essence of having huge subsidies and fishermen are not able to get the fuel. Because you and I know that in recent times, or in the past 2 years, fuel prices have doubled or even tripled in some instances. And premix fuel has remained constant for a very long time. Premix fuel was being sold for about 7 cedis, 20 pesos not long ago. A whole gallon was being sold for 7 cedis, where a liter of fuel was hovering around 16 cedis, 17 cedis. So the subsidy was huge. So it was affecting our supply rate, was affecting the efficiency of our operations. So the fishermen sat down and we agreed, we had a gentleman's agreement that in order for us to have consistent supply, then we should increase the premix fuel at least reasonably.
As you adjust your budget for January after all your Christmas celebrations, you may have to tighten your belt further in February. Utility tariffs are expected to go up by about 30%, according to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. The commission stated that the increment has become necessary due to the twin impact of inflation and the depreciation of the cedi on the cost of generation for electricity and the production of water.
The last utility tariff increment was in August 2022, as announced by the Public Utilities Commission, PURC. Water and electricity tariffs were increased by 27.15% and 21.55% respectively. However, the Commission on January 16 announced another increment following the conclusion of its regulatory processes for quarterly adjustments in 2023. For businesses, the increment will further worsen their conditions of living and also destabilize their businesses. Magdalene Aite used to operate a laundry shop with her husband. She says due to the high cost of running the business, her husband has been forced to quit. She added that the current increments in tariffs will gradually collapse her business.
Emma sisi a ejuma na nkasa entaima. Na afi ejuma no ba electricity water nkasa ni bua edin. Na electricity nso bua ebe edin. And the nyama no want to me farmer. If saving cry one the bar, say one baby fa cry is a problem. Well, and so no obedient, you have to eat. So by all means, you have to be at least managing some small things. Na minimi krumpone and Susan and Yamaban was so quiet farming. Into no or village quiet farming. Into mina me manage wake a crack. Into a bit too light is so dear. And yeah, nature said you manu be good. Ye to water, electricity, and son of a quacoto samna, who got to samna, beto starch, beto parazone. Ninya menyan is from the same money. Now, Ubano to Sunswa, one Mubeka Siniboedi.
The increase, which is expected to take effect on February 1, will see an increment in electricity by 29.96% and water by 8.3%. The Commission says the increment was necessitated by an unfavorable exchange rate, the rising cost of gas for electricity generation, and chemicals for water treatment. Moses Obama runs a printing press at Newtown in Accra. He tells City News he will be forced to share the burden with his customers.
With the increment, I think the companies will be folding down because look at the electricity that we buy to run the machines and stuff, and the increment of the materials to the papers, it makes the printing very expensive, you understand? For example, look at the stationeries now that we are buying in the market. Because of the increment of the paper and the tariff and other stuff, you can't even buy the books at the market now. It is very expensive. Tariffs are high, the materials too are high. I have to send the cost back to the consumer, right? Without that, I can't survive the business. The business can't survive. So we have to, bear the cost to the consumer.
For the Association of Ghana Industries, governments should be measured with the increment taking into consideration the current economic challenges.
So we are just asking government to delay the implementation of the increments of the utility tariffs to such a time that the economy is a little bit more stable and that the exchange rate will be stable and also that the inflation rate will be much more less so that we can be able to deal with another increment, of course. But as it is now, it is really, really difficult to expect our folks in the industrial community to be prepared to deal with a more higher increment in cost of utility.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Publishers Association is appealing to the government to give its members some tax incentives to absorb the shocks of the expected increase in utility tariffs. Speaking to the media on the sidelines of the handing over and swearing-in ceremony of the association, the newly elected president, Mr. Asare Kunedu Yamwa, called on the government to intervene in order to ensure their businesses thrive under the current economic situation.
You see, any cost which to an extent will be an incumbent thing on the member industry or production in the country is an inconvenience. And I do not think that even governments would want that to occur. But you see, since we do not control some of the inputs into the production of electricity and other utilities, we will have to bear with it and see how we manage it. Of course, when prices of some of these goods are going up as a result of these inputs, the government will have to intervene, either by releasing some of the taxes or creating some space for the local industry to grow. Because, of course, we will not be competitive in any open market system.
Is the neighborhood I'm having my twins.
The very reason why I took it for us. See, the price is very good and it's spacious to contain all of us.
Alphabet City. Now I'm a landlord. I don't pay rent. And my Airbnb business is booming.
To me, Pamini, bank and I'm not say Alphabet City. The pension pay me 20%. The payment plan, I want to share my man. Just say, very smooth.
This is a healthy place to raise our families and creating peace. Come on, be my neighbor.
Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Alphabet City is a classy and peaceful gated community in Sakumono. We have 24/7 top-notch security and high-quality access roads. We have 3 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, 3 bedrooms and 3 washrooms with boys' quarters. We have 3 bedrooms and 4 washrooms. We have 2 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, all with beautiful kitchens and kitchenettes. Call Alphabet City on 0240-111119 or 050-44-99999. Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Skywater, premium natural mineral water for a refreshing life. Made from the depths of the earth. Crisp, clear, unique. Drink Skywater. Be good to yourself. Skywater. The sky is the limit. This advert is FDA approved.
I'm sure you heard the good news last week from the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, where it announced an increment in the monthly pensions payment by about 25%. This means that the minimum paid pensioner will receive about 430 Ghana cedis, while the highest pensioner receives a little over 170,000 Ghana cedis. The Africa Center for Retirement Research is, on the other hand, calling on SNIT to relook at the mode of increment of pensions because it finds the gap between the highest and lowest earners rather concerning.
The Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, earlier this month increased monthly pension payments by an average of 25%. The review will see all 234,000 legitimate pensioners on the SNIT pension payroll as of the end of December 2022 have their monthly pensions increased by a fixed rate of 19% plus a redistributed flat amount of 73 Ghana cedis 58 pesos. Redistribution is a mechanism applied to the rate to cushion members on low pensions in conformity with the solidarity principle of Social Security. By the increments, the minimum paid pensioner will receive 430 Ghana cedis 58 pesos, while the highest paid pensioner receives a little over 170,000 Ghana cedis. Addressing the media at a press conference in Accra, the Africa Center for Retirement Research called on SNIT to relook at the mode of pension indexation in the country, as the difference between amounts payable to the highest and lowest earners are unequitable. Executive Director of the Center, Abdullah Mashood, explains that the system must cushion members on low pensions in conformity to the solidarity principle of Social Security.
He takes 50,000, he takes 500 Ghana cedis. This man takes 25,000. In pension indexation, of course, the main purpose is to restore the purchasing power that the person has lost in the previous year. So what we are saying is that the man is already rich, okay? in indexing, because you take 100,000, when we find the average, and the average is say 10%. Now let's peg it at 20%. We are not giving. We should have. The current mode is that we should give everybody a fixed rate of 20%. But when you do that over time, because this man is already at the top there, you are only enriching the person and impoverishing this one. So why don't we give you the one earning more, 100,000? We are giving you out of the 20%. We are giving you 10%. The one who is coming next will give the person 15%. But those who are down there, we can give them 25%. That way, you are closing the gap over time. And that is the main essence of social security. The principle of solidarity means the stronger ones would go down and pick the weaker ones up, or the rich ones would go down and support the poor ones. That is what the principle of solidarity is talking about. And that is what social security thrives on. Social security thrives on the social security principle of solidarity. Solidarity means, yes, we all have equal risk. We have all come together. We are contributing to the pool. At the point of distribution of the benefit, we are ready to support each other.
On the ongoing domestic debt exchange, Abdallah Mashoud reiterated calls for government to exclude pensioners from the domestic debt exchange program. According to him, the level of damage to the pension system will be dire if government goes ahead with this. This comes at a time when the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, has formed a technical committee to ensure continuous engagement with all stakeholders involved in the domestic debt exchange program is achieved.
African Center for Retirement Research, we are projecting that if the government does not genuinely exclude, and that is the word, if the government does not genuinely exclude pension funds from the debt exchange program, the adverse socio-economic impact on the retiring workers will be immediate. Social security might not be able to serve its main purpose of alleviating old age poverty, because the spillover effect will be massive and the healing process will take longer. In addition, the level of damage of the pension system as a result may require a possible pension reform along the way to fix the disruption. To secure the efficiency of the pension system in Ghana, as well as forestall the undesirable early post-retirement mortality among the pensioner population, worker unions, civil society organizations, etc., are encouraged to be open-eyed no matter what they are told. If the finance ministry tells you that I have exempted pension funds from the debt exchange program, that does not mean we have to go and sleep. We have to be open-eyed to really ensure that the debt exchange program is not affecting the investment income of workers upon retirement.
It's been 3 years since trading officially began under the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, and the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, has been sharing its assessment of the policy so far. It has put forward some proposals to enhance the program. 3 years into the commencement of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, is urging African leaders to grab the bull by the horn and implement the tariff-free arrangement under the agreement. Trading began under the AfTA on the 1st of January 2019, but it has been met with challenges with the implementation of the free tariff policy. Speaking to City Business News, President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obing, stressed that governments on the continent must show commitment to ensuring AfTA sees the light of the day.
One major thing that needs to be considered, and the African leaders have to be bold about it, is that tariff-free should be tariff-free. It shouldn't be made to be staggered, because already the other countries that we do our business have the advantage in pricing and all that. And so if we are not able to remove the tariffs at all, they are still more competitive. The products that we source from outside the continent, African continent, is even more affordable than that is being produced here, even with the duties that we pay. So in that case, people might not be so keen and enthused to buy from within Africa. But the only thing that will help boost this African intertrade is the tariff-free. So they have to remove it. They have to be bold rather than saying that they want to stagger it over 5 years, 10 years, and all that. Those little reductions might not be attractive to the traders in the sub-region, the country.
The union also called for the establishment of a shipping line under the AFTA to fast-track the transportation of goods on the continent. The AFTA was implemented in a bid to remove trade barriers among member countries. But the president of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obing, believes that until the challenge with the timely transportation of goods on the continent is addressed, the agreement may not be able to realize its full potential.
If you look at the trade facilitation, we are talking about ease of doing business, cost of doing business, and time of doing business. And I think time of doing business is going to be affected by the intertrade because of transportation. That you buy goods from Africa and it will take about 3 months before you get the goods, it's not going to help us. So the leaders of the continent should find, as a matter of urgency, put the resources together and get our own shipping lines. They have to do it if they are serious about this, that we have shipping lines in the west, in the south, and in the east of Africa, so that we can fast track this trade, because time is very essential. That you buy goods from Asia and it comes within 6 weeks, and that you buy goods from neighboring countries and it takes so many months to come. No businessman will be enthused, because the capitals that we do business with is a borrowed one, and the interest that we pay is also very high.
Corruption at the ports remains a major concern as it causes the country to lose millions and billions of needed revenue. But addressing this challenge will require collaborative effort from all stakeholders in the sector. The government is therefore urging stakeholders within the maritime industry to strengthen measures aimed at combating corrupt practices at the ports.
Ports transactions have been characterized with some challenges, including corruption, but stakeholders have been encouraged to proffer solutions in tackling corruptions at the seaport. In a speech read on his behalf by the Minister of Public Enterprises, Joseph Kujo, at the Regional Maritime Sector Stakeholder Conference in Accra, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Barmia, said integrity help harness the potentials of the blue economy.
The AFTA Secretariat will assist these selected countries to test trading documents and procedures on pre-selected shipment of goods and guide shipment through customs clearance, including reduced tariff under the AFTA. This initiative, however, will only flourish in an environment that is free of corruption. There is compelling need, therefore, for the maritime sector to formalize actions to combat bribery and corruption by collaborating and encouraging all stakeholders in the ship-shore interface to ensure compliance with national and international laws which prohibit bribery and corruption. Additionally, I will urge all countries and stakeholders present to work against corrupt practices by constantly focusing on establishing anti-corruption measures and or improve them when the measures already exist.
On his part, the Deputy Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Yao Akosa Entry, mentioned that corrupt practices at the ports have slowed productivity.
Corruption in the maritime industry not only generates additional operational costs for the maritime industry, but endangers the safety and well-being of the crew, like seafarers, and also acts as a significant barrier to trade and development. Despite the risk associated with maritime corruption, it still persists due to the very nature of the shipping industry or the maritime industry itself. To bluntly put, the industry is opaque in its operations, making it susceptible to corruption risk. It is difficult to have citizen A acquire a vessel, registering it in country B, employing crew from country C, D, and E, transporting cargo that belongs to country F, and delivering the cargo to country Y. The complex nature of what I have just described makes room for a lot of discretion, and this comes with the attendant corruption that has plagued our various ports.
The government has been on an agenda to make Ghana the automobile hub for the West African sub-region. Based on this, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Michael Ogbodu, is pushing for more investment in the automobile industry. He maintains that the investment gap in the industry has created a deficit in the local economy, and he believes this could improve the right kind of funding.
The trade relationship that exists between Ghana and Malta spans over several decades. Speaking at the third Malta-Ghana Business Forum held in Accra, a Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Michael Ogbodu, assured investors of lucrative avenue in the automobile industry in Ghana.
There is no component manufacturer in this country. And so I want to push hard this. So our brother and sister from Malta, there's a huge opportunity in the component manufacturing area. You can even start with the generic ones, like car brakes, like car lights, like car batteries. These are very generic ones that you can easily set up and make a lot. Government is prepared to also offer very good incentives, like tax breaks. And the free zones is also securely behind you with its malfortune incentives to encourage you. If you want to use Ghana as a springboard to the sub-region, you can still enjoy these incentives under the same concept. And so I want to call on the Maltese businessmen and women here in present that there is a huge opportunity in the area of the automobile sector. So let's look at that. There's also a huge opportunity in the area of garment and textiles. Now Ghana is competing with the world leaders we are not the best in class in garment and textiles in the world, but we are doing so well.
The Minister of Foreign, European Affairs and Trade of Malta, Dr. Ian Borg, reiterated his country's commitment to a win-win business development that will enhance both economies.
These agreements and other ongoing collaborations are testament that the work done by the Maltese and Ghanaian governments in order to encourage Maltese and Ghanaian business partners, more particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, finding common ground and forge meaningful partnerships in Ghana. Other delegates on this mission are on the first trip to Ghana. They joined this delegation with the aim to engage with the local Ghanaian partners in the pursuit of internationalizing their business. They would also like to follow on the footsteps of other Maltese entrepreneurs who have nothing but praise for Ghana and promote the opportunities it offers. I therefore urge the members of the Ghanaian business community present here today to reach out to these newcomers and, as the video we watched earlier stated, welcome them to grow in Ghana and grow with Ghana. I can assure you from personal experience that your hospitality will be reciprocated in the same manner. As I conclude, I would like to emphasize the Maltese government's commitment to work side by side with the Ghanaian government to keep on strengthening our mutual beneficial partnership in all areas.
Well, it's a wrap for today's edition of the Business Weekly Show here on City TV, your most watched business show in the country. My name is Michael Ogbodu. Let's connect on Twitter at @Ogbodu. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed. Bye-bye.
How American are American cars? The three most popular vehicles in the U.S. are pickup trucks made by Ford, Chrysler, and General Motors. America first, you might think. But these three models are on average only 55% American. 55% of what's called their added value comes from the U.S. The rest from abroad. All three models are assembled in the U.S., but many parts that require elaborate production, like engines, are often imported from other countries. In GM's case, from Mexico. In Chrysler's case, from Italy. Chrysler also gets its transmissions from Italy. The U.S. car maker has belonged to Fiat since 2014. The wiring assemblies for all three models are also manufactured outside the U.S. For each truck, kilometers of cables are processed by hand. Work like that is only done in low-wage countries. And Germany also provides components for the pickups. America's best-selling model, the Ford F-150, has a ladder frame made of steel made by a German company. Apart from that, the body of the F-150 is made of aluminum, high-tech aluminum that Ford developed in collaboration with German research labs. And the mechanism for adjusting the F-150's front seats comes from a French supplier that manufactures in Mexico and China. The proportion of American added value is falling. The three pickups were made in USA to the tune of 69% just 5 years ago. But car makers are now outsourcing more and more production to suppliers all over the world.
Artificial intelligence, friend or foe? Whether it's playing chess, deciphering hieroglyphics in ancient scripts that no one's been able to decode, or detecting cancer. Time and again, computers are proving smarter than humans, at least modern ones equipped with artificial intelligence. AI can learn independently, recognize patterns in countless data, and derive rules from them. In other words, create algorithms. Some systems use layered artificial neural networks, like those found in the brain, that classify images and sounds. The process is called deep learning. And the more data AI has, the better the result, comparable to what the human brain can achieve. Intelligent computers have also made production processes more efficient. Management consulting firm McKinsey estimates that AI will bring 160 billion euros of additional growth to Germany by 2030. As a smart home assistant, AI should soon be able to recognize emotions, and self-driving cars before long